Lily taught herself aerial silks and turned it into a passion, from training at home to performing in showcases. She shares how she pushes past challenges and inspires others to take on the impossible. Enjoy the show. We have Lily here on Hootworthy, an aerialist. We got these different items that we see around here. Thanks for being here.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. And as you can see, my apparatuses have taken all of the decorations from the table.
I think they look great. They're probably going to stay. This is going to replace our decorations.
Well, if they're staying, I'm staying. So,
So what is scarier? Before we dive in here, you hanging upside down 15 feet on one of these silks, these contraptions,
right,
or doing this interview?
Well, as much as I'd like to say that hanging from my Achilles tendons on an aerial hoop is scarier, I'm an online schooler, so this is pretty terrifying, but that's okay because I'm going to beat the socially awkward allegations. We're good.
Yes.
We're pushing forward.
Yes, you're representing
that's right.
all the students. So
I am.
With best behavior here.
Right.
But no, this is a safe space. And as I understand it, you got these aerial silks for Christmas.
Yes, sir.
All right, so tell the truth here.
Okay.
If we had a video and we could see it, how did that first attempt go when you were like, I'm getting on these silks?
Well, I can tell you I'm not submitting any footage of my first attempt here on Hootworthy.
Okay.
It went
Someone find it.
It went horrendously. There's a lot I didn't anticipate. I mean, the silks, they look so soft and cushy, and I'd only watched performances of other aerialists, experienced aerialists. Just, they make it look like a piece of cake.
Right.
But that hurts.
I'm sure it does.
It does. And especially when you get tension and your body weight on there, it hurts a lot. And you could get burns, fabric burns. And I just didn't anticipate how much it was going to hurt.
When you say hurt, do you just mean like the physical like exertion that your body has to do? Or do you like mean like if you are falling, or like the material, like what exactly, or is it all of it?
I'd say it's a fair mix of both because of course, yes, you have your exhaustion and muscle aches and things like that, but that can also very much so physically hurt you. Like I said, fabric burns, pinches. I've had multiple times where with certain moves, it runs along your back and my whole back has just been like a scratch all across there. But the aerial hoop hurts the worst. Because that is, No, it's surprisingly heavy. Like
you saw it, and I was like, "Hey, you came and took it," and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I thought it was a hula hoop. Like I was like expecting I was like, "Wow, it's sturdy. It has some meat to it. Like
it is very meaty.
It's solid." So you started self-teaching, like YouTube, blogs, whatever.
Yes.
Like you explored this, but looking back, what's something that you wish that you had known going into it?
I think that I had known how to properly use my arms because you're so caught up in trying to do your reps and pick out certain movements and execute them that your arms they're just kind of stiff there. And I used to have what you call hamburger hands, where you're in a pose or move, and then, you're supposed to have some stylistic component where your hands are like, just light and fluttery and graceful, but my hands were rigid and, hamburgery.
That's what they call it?
Yes.
That's the term?
Yes, sir. Hamburger hands.
So we could Lego look at like earlier videos and you're like, oh, hamburger hands.
We're not going to look at earlier videos.
But so now you have a more graceful.
Yes. Now it kind of naturally flows. You just kind of shake out your hand and that's what you're left with.
That's hilarious. So you don't have an athletic background, as you've said, and you've learned this on your own.
Yes.
And you talked about hamburger hands. So what do you think? Maybe that was the hardest thing about learning on your own, but was there something even harder than like being graceful, like having to learn this stuff on your own?
Oh, there was a lot of technique issues that you had to push through. I mean, there would be certain times where I'd watch a video of someone do a certain drop and I would get the wrap completely wrong, and then you fall to the ground. So
is a drop, walk me through that. If
yes.
you're on the silk at the top and then you just...
So you have certain drops. One of my favorites is a double star drop, and there's many different ways that you can execute that. You can do that with two of the ends, they call them poles, two of the poles in your hands, and then it makes kind of like a ribbon effect on the way down. You can also do it as a pencil drop where you're more compact and it's a faster movement, but you fall about 10 to 12 feet. And yeah, it's just a drop, but of course you catch yourself at the bottom in some way. You hope so.
I am not catching myself. Right to the floor.
You have open drops and closed drops. Open drops are going to be harder because, like I said, you do have to catch yourself at the end there. You either have to grab onto the fabric, in some way you have to catch yourself, whereas closed drops, naturally you're not going to fall out. If your form's wrong, you might still injure yourself, but you're not going to fall to the ground.
I see. So tell me a little bit about, like, paint a picture for us, like people that are like, we've been talking to this aerialist and I don't even know what the heck she does. So walk us through what are these? We've been talking about silks, this hoop thing, and if there's any other arts, I think like you do trapeze stuff. So like walk me through the different things that you actually do and like what they look like if no one's actually ever seen them.
I guess I should have started there because I kind of jumped straight into it. So I primarily train on 3 apparatuses, which would be the aerial silks, which is what you see here. It's this long, it's about 25 feet long, and it depends on, you can get it in different stretch. I don't know if you'd call that, the different fabric is either stretchier or has more tension for different drops. Mine are medium stretch. I'm getting way ahead of myself. These are aerial silks though. And they're just a long fabric. Basically, if you've ever wanted to climb on curtains as a child, that is your dreams coming true.
Ah, I see.
So when you think of circus arts, you're probably going to think of aerial silks. That might be one of the very first things you think of. And next I have my aerial hoop, which is a big steel hoop. It is solid.
It's solid.
Don't hit your head on this when you're spinning. It hurts. And I prefer mine to have grip tape on it, but some aerialists do no grip tape. So it's more of it's just a silky, smooth metal hoop that you're doing tricks from. And aerial hoop isn't as great for drops. Silks, you're going to see a lot more drops and flowy movements, whereas hoops, you're going to see more rolls and more of just like posed movements where you stop for a while. A lot of splits are nice on the aerial hoop.
I see.
And then down here, which you can't see, and I'm not going to try and grab it, I have my trapeze with me. And that's kind of a combination between the two because you do have a steel bar, but then you also have 2 long ropes that you can do tricks from as well. But with the trapeze, you mostly see a lot of dynamic swinging movements. And also that's kind of what you think of when you think of Cirque du Soleil or just circus in general. You always see a trapeze. And then I also train on aerial rope, which I don't have it with me here. And that is like the silks, but it's only got 1 rope instead of the silks, which has 2 silks. So you also see a lot more dynamic movements, not as much flowy movements. You can't mess with the fabric, but it's great for conditioning, and especially a lot of your skills on rope transfer over to the hoop. So it's a great apparatus. If you want to get into silks or you want to get into rope, you might start on silks.
Oh, I see. So that really paints a picture better what you do.
I hope so. I tried.
But of all these that you do, which one's your favorite and why?
Okay. Well, absolutely. I'd say my favorite is aerial silks. You have 2 different kinds of apparatuses. The ones that you wrap your body around and the ones that the apparatus wraps around you. I prefer to wrap an apparatus around me. I personally think the aerial hoop hurts a lot. And I started on silk. So transferring over to starting to train on aerial hoop was a whole new world and a whole new realm of pain.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a different kind of grip too. You see more of a horizontal grip than a vertical grip. So my calluses that I had built up didn't work there. So it's like starting over.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, aerial silks is my favorite because there's just so much potential for different moves.
Yeah.
You can combine dynamic moves with soft and graceful moves. You can get crazy and really play with the fabric and make it dramatic. There's just so much potential on aerial silks, and I'm kind of biased because it's what I started with.
Sure. It's your first love.
It is.
So to speak.
It is.
So the aerial arts are very like emotional, right? As you mentioned, like you don't want hamburger hands. You want graceful, you know, it's kind of like this poetry in motion.
It is.
Sort of thing. And you've mentioned like be like it's emotions and like connected. So do you remember a time where like you were performing, whether it was at one of your shows or like when you're training, where you like really felt connected to what you were doing, and kind of explain that to us?
Absolutely. So I think when I was filming my second GCA's Got Talent submission, I did a performance on aerial sling, which is like silks, but it's more in a hammock. And I did that performance to a song by Bjork, and there was a lot of moments where she almost would scream, and then it was soft and quiet and calm. And I remember one of the moments where it was a bit of a climax in the song, and you don't even think about these stylistic components. They just sort of happen. And I remember just like kicking, like flourishing my feet in a way, like with a kick and with flexed feet that just kind of expressed what I was feeling in the music. It wasn't just like, I wasn't even thinking about it. It was more than just an athletic discipline. It was like, I don't know, just expressing myself through movement. And that was one of the craziest moments where you go, okay, wow, I progressed to the point where this feels natural to me now. This is just a way to express myself.
Very cool. You're not just caught up in the moment of like, everything hurts. My body hurts.
This is the next
Why
move
am I
need to
doing
do.
this? Yes. So you joined a gym for a little bit, as I understand it. And I imagine you got into this environment where you were kind of brand new and you're surrounded by like, wow, maybe all these people are like amazing at this. And do I feel that amazing? Can you kind of walk us through? Did you ever doubt yourself? Did you have to push yourself through that? Like, what was that experience like being around people that you're like, man, these people are like really good or like.
Well, I can tell you that walking into that environment was daunting for sure, because like I said, I was self-taught and I had an understanding of the different moves, but so many moves have so many different names that I would do a sequence and I wouldn't necessarily know the names of it. And the students there just had so much more experience and professional coaching. And I felt like, yeah, I'm just on my own here. No one else. Also, I think there's a stigma too, because you say something like, oh yeah, I'm self-taught on aerial silks. And they go, oh, really? You taught yourself aerial silks? You realize how dangerous that is? And you must be at beginner level because there's no way you can progress on your own. I mean, you have to have professional coaching. So it was a very daunting environment to step into. And I did doubt myself quite a bit. But I remember it was during my aerial silk class where they kind of do an evaluation of where you're at with your skills. And I was hoping to maybe go to level 2 because they had it on a scale from beginner level being level 1 and then your advanced being 4 to 5. And I remember just the pressure. Well, you're in front of everyone and you have a professional coach that's watching you climb your silks and perform a sequence that would show your skill. And there was a lot of pressure there for sure. And I ended up coming down and finishing with my sequence that I had put together beforehand. And I got placed at a level 4 to 5.
Nice.
And so that was like validated.
Yeah.
And I kind of got rid of some of the self-doubt because I went, oh, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. You can hang.
I can hang with the professionals.
People.
Yes. Yeah. So it was almost more rewarding to be able to say, oh yeah, I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
And you guys may have been in here for years, but I've been doing it for about 2 years at this point, and this is what self-drive and motivation can get, where it can get you.
Sure. So connecting that, you want to inspire people to try things that they
Yes.
might not feel like they're capable of. Where do you think that inspiration comes from, that message? Like, why do you think that's important to you? Do you think it's because you experienced that yourself and what that did for you? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So that message just resonates with me so much because I've been that person in situations where I will completely miss out on opportunities because I'm too nervous or I just don't want to step out of my comfort zone. And even with this Hootworthy interview, you reached out to me about 2 years ago with the possibility of doing this.
Yeah.
And I turned it down because I was too nervous.
Ah.
And I've reached a point where I just don't want to do that anymore. And so I reached out to you and I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. I don't want to miss out on any more opportunities. And if I feel like I'm uncomfortable with the thought of a situation, that means I need to put myself in that situation because that's the only way I'm going to progress and grow. And that's what I want to see for other students. And that's why it's so near and dear to me because I've seen both sides of that. I've seen the failure and the success that comes from just pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
That's awesome. And you get the rewards. Like, it probably
Yes.
feels rewarding too, on top of that, to be like, I was scared to do this.
Oh yeah.
And now I did it. And wow, it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
It wasn't terrible. Exactly. Yep.
Except after the Hootworthy interview.
Right.
You
I'm going to
leave the
go cry
Hootworthy,
in my
you're like,
car on the way
this
home.
is awful. I should have never done that. Why did I come
why
here?
did I do this?
So you didn't do all the like expensive classes and coaching, and you kind of were self-taught with the aerial thing. What's next for you, Lily? You're graduating soon, and
Yes.
with aerial arts though, are you gonna pursue this more? Is this gonna maintain as a hobby? Is this like career? Like what? Or are you on to something else? Like what are your for future plans?
So I don't see myself pursuing a career in aerial arts. I do love it and it will always be with me, but I don't foresee myself pursuing it as a career.
Sure.
I'm looking to go to UGA and I'm not exactly sure where that college path is going to take me just yet.
Right on.
But even if I ever stop training on aerial apparatuses and stop putting that time in, that message that I learned from throwing myself into something like this will always stick with me. And I've kind of applied that to other areas of my life, especially navigating the college application process because no one in my immediate family has ever gone to college. So I would be the first one to go to college. And it's kind of the same idea here. I'm jumping into uncharted territory and I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to persevere. And that's where I am.
That is awesome. What a story. So before you get out of here though, Lily, do you want to shout out anyone before you're out?
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to my AP Human Geography course with Mr. West and all of my awesome classmates. You guys are awesome.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Lily, your story is so encouraging. It's awesome. It's a testament to push through no matter what, self-taught, persevere, and we can't wait to see what else you got going on, and stay Hootworthy. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.